The night was too quiet for comfort. Emily sat on the edge of her king-sized bed, the pale glow of her husband's phone screen reflecting off the mirror across the room. Daniel's laughter echoed faintly from the study downstairs, light, careless, different. They had been married for 5 years. He was a marketing executive at a top firm, always busy, always in meetings. But lately, something had changed. Late-night calls, new cologne, and a smile that didn't quite reach his eyes. Emily picked up the laundry basket, pretending to tidy up. As she passed his jacket on the chair, a faint scent of unfamiliar perfume lingered. Soft, floral, expensive. It wasn't hers. Her heart sank. She reached into the pocket, fingers trembling, and pulled out a hotel keycard. Riverside Grand, room 408. The clock ticked past midnight as Emily stood frozen, her world spinning. The phone buzzed again. A message flashed on the screen before fading. "Can't wait to see you again. Love, A." Tears burned behind her eyes. She sat down, gripping the card, anger rising with every heartbeat. She could scream, she could cry, but instead, she smiled. Not a sad smile, a cold, calculated one. Tomorrow she would find out exactly who A was, and Daniel would have no idea what storm was coming for him. The next evening, rain poured over the city like a curtain of secrets. Emily sat in her car across the street from the Riverside Grand Hotel, fingers gripping the steering wheel so tightly her knuckles turned white. She watched as expensive cars pulled into the lot, couples walking in, laughing, holding hands, unaware of the heartbreak sitting just meters away. At 8:47 p.m., a familiar figure appeared through the drizzle. Daniel, her husband. He looked sharp, his tie perfectly straight, his smile charming, but it wasn't meant for her tonight. Emily's stomach twisted as she watched him step out of the car and check his phone. Moments later, a woman in a red dress approached, young, confident, the kind of woman who never looked back. They hugged, not like colleagues but like lovers. Emily felt her heart shatter in slow motion. Every laugh, every kiss he had given her now felt like a lie. She took out her phone, trembling, and snapped photos, proof of betrayal. But she wasn't just there to catch him, she wanted to understand. Who was this woman? Why risk everything for her? She followed them quietly into the hotel, keeping distance. Inside, the air smelled of roses and rain. Daniel handed the receptionist a smile. And a credit card. "Room 408, please." That number again. Emily's eyes burned as the elevator doors closed on the two of them. Her reflection stared back from the golden mirror, eyes red, lips pressed tight.
She walked toward the reception desk, forcing a polite tone. "Excuse me," she said softly. "I'm meeting my husband in room 408, but I forgot the room number. Could you please confirm if Daniel Anderson checked in?"
The receptionist hesitated, then nodded. "Yes, ma'am, he did. Just a few minutes ago."
Emily smiled, thanked her, and walked away. But she didn't go to the elevator. She went outside, into the rain again, her tears mixed with it, unseen, because for now, she needed a plan. This wasn't going to end with confrontation, it was going to end with consequences. The rain hadn't stopped the next morning. The city wore a gray sadness, much like Emily's heart. She hadn't slept a second. The image of Daniel holding that woman replayed in her mind like a cruel film. But Emily wasn't weak anymore. No tears. No begging. Today, she was going to fight back.
She sat at her vanity mirror, eyes swollen yet fierce, and whispered to her reflection, "If he can play dirty, so can I."
Emily worked as a freelance event planner, which meant she had access to Daniel's company gala, scheduled just a week away, a grand celebration for investors, media, and high-profile guests, the perfect stage, the perfect place to expose him. She started gathering everything, screenshots of messages, the photos from the hotel, even old receipts from his business trips. Each one was a piece of the puzzle. By noon, her best friend Lara came over. Lara had always been the bold one, loyal, loud, and unafraid. When Emily told her everything, Lara's expression turned from shock to fire.
"We're not just catching him, Em. We're ending him. Let's give that man a night he'll never forget."
Together, they came up with a plan. Dangerous, clever, and cinematic. Emily would prepare a short presentation for the gala, supposedly celebrating the company's success. But halfway through, her video would switch to Daniel's secret footage, the hotel lobby, the red dress woman, room 408.
Lara grinned. You'll expose him in front of everyone, his boss, his investors, maybe even her.
Emily hesitated. And after that?
After that, Lara said, you walk away, head high.
That night, Emily drove back to the hotel, not to cry, but to record. With a long coat and her camera, she quietly bribed a bellboy to confirm the woman's name, Sophie Miller, Daniel's new secretary. The same Sophie she once invited to dinner, the same woman who called her Mrs. Anderson with a smile. Now the betrayal felt deeper, almost surgical.
She returned home with footage in hand, rain dripping from her hair but a fierce glint in her eyes. She whispered, "You broke my heart, Daniel. Now, I'll break your pride."
And for the first time since her world had fallen apart, Emily smiled. The night of the gala arrived, elegant, golden, and cruelly ironic. The ballroom shimmered with chandeliers, champagne glasses clinking in the air, everyone dressed in their best, men in sharp tuxedos, women in silk and diamonds. Emily stood near the entrance in a sleek black gown, hair tied up, her presence quiet yet magnetic. No one could tell that beneath that calm surface, a storm was ready to strike. At the center of the hall stood Daniel, her husband, confident, smiling, shaking hands with investors. And right beside him, like a shadow wearing perfume, stood Sophie Miller, the woman in red. When Daniel's eyes met Emily's across the room, for a moment, his charm faltered. He didn't expect her to come. He definitely didn't expect her to come like this.
"Emily," he stammered when she finally approached. "You look stunning."
Do I? She smiled politely. Just wanted to celebrate your big night.
Her tone was soft, but her eyes were ice.
Ladies and gentlemen, tonight we honor the hard work and dedication of our senior executives. Let's give a big hand to Daniel Anderson, whose campaigns have brought record-breaking success.
Applause filled the room. Daniel adjusted his tie, stepping onto the stage with his usual confidence. Emily followed him up, holding a USB drive in her hand.
And now, she said into the mic, as Daniel's wife and event coordinator, I'd like to share a short video, a tribute to the man behind all this success.
Daniel smiled nervously. That's sweet of you, honey."
The lights dimmed, the screen flickered, and then, instead of his company highlights, came the soft hum of a hotel hallway camera. A gasp rippled through the crowd. Whispers, murmurs. Daniel's face turned pale as everyone turned to him. His boss, his clients, Sophie frozen beside the bar. The footage ended with Daniel's message flashing on screen.
"You're my real success, Sophie. She'll never know."
Now everyone knows.
CEO's affair exposed by wife during gala event.
Emily, please, just talk to me once. You've made your point, but please, I need you. Emily, you destroyed me.
No, you destroyed us.
I lost everything. My job, my name.
And you still have no idea what you really lost. You had someone who believed in you when you had nothing, and you traded her for a secret that was never going to last. Don't contact me again. You've already taken enough.
She closed the door before he could answer. Outside, rain started again, the same rain that had once seen her broken, but this time, it felt like a cleansing. Emily sat down, opened her laptop, and smiled faintly. A new email blinked on her screen, a job offer from another marketing firm. Impressed by her professionalism during the gala, she wasn't just the betrayed wife anymore, she was the woman who rebuilt herself. And as thunder rolled outside, Emily whispered,
You can lose everything and still win yourself back.
You can lose everything and still win yourself back. A year passed. The wounds had healed, though the scars remained. Quiet reminders of how far Emily had come. She now worked at Crown Edge Marketing, one of the fastest growing firms in the country. Her reputation was built not just on skill, but on her calm, decisive leadership. People admired her, respected her, feared disappointing her. Emily Anderson, now Emily Reed, had become something Daniel never imagined, stronger without him. Her boss often said,
You've got a rare kind of fire, Emily. Pain built you, but it didn't define you.
and maybe he was right. She had a new apartment, new car, and, more importantly, peace. Every morning, she'd pass the coffee shop near her office, and every morning she'd see reflections of her past. Women still stuck where she once was. She wished she could tell them, don't wait to be saved. Save yourself. One afternoon, Emily was asked to attend a high-profile corporate summit, a gathering of CEOs and industry leaders. She walked into the grand hall, her heels clicking against the marble floor, unaware that fate had another twist waiting. On stage stood the guest speaker, Daniel Anderson. He looked older, tired, a shadow of his former self. His once sharp suit now felt like a costume on a fallen king. Emily froze, heart pounding. But then, she straightened her shoulders. When Daniel's eyes found hers across the hall, he stopped mid-sentence. For a moment, the room faded, and there was only silence between them. The silence of unfinished stories. After the event, he approached her carefully.
Emily, he said softly, you look different.
Better, she replied simply.
I deserve that.
They sat down briefly. Daniel confessed how everything had fallen apart. Sophie had left him within weeks of the scandal. His company failed, his friends disappeared. He'd spent months rebuilding, only to realize he'd lost the only person who ever truly cared.
I was blinded by success, he said, and when the lights went out, I finally saw you.
Emily listened quietly. Then she said the words that ended it all.
You don't get to find peace through me, Daniel. You find it by facing yourself.
She stood up, shook his hand like a stranger, and walked away, confident, radiant, untouchable. As she stepped out into the sunlight, her reflection in the glass doors smiled back. No anger, no pain, just freedom. Emily had become everything he once dreamed of. And he'd become the memory she no longer needed. Spring arrived early that year. Soft sunlight, blooming magnolias, and a quiet peace that Emily had never known before. Her life had taken a turn she couldn't have predicted. After the corporate summit, her firm promoted her to vice president of strategy, recognizing her brilliance and resilience. She had turned pain into power, and the world had noticed. But more than success, Emily had found something rarer, herself. One evening, she attended a charity gala, this time as one of the key speakers. As she walked through the elegantly lit hall, she caught sight of a familiar figure. It wasn't Daniel, it was Ethan Hale, the CEO of a partner company. Quiet, confident, the kind of man who noticed more than he said. They had crossed paths a few times in meetings, always professional, always distant, but tonight felt different.
Emily Reed, he greeted with a warm smile. You've built quite a reputation for yourself.
I've earned it, she replied, smiling softly.
As the evening went on, they spoke about business, life, and the quiet battles people hide behind success. There was no rush, no performance, just understanding. Ethan didn't look at her like someone broken, he looked at her like someone who'd survived the fire and come out shining. When the night ended, he walked her to her car.
You know, he said gently, you talk about rebuilding lives like it's easy.
It's not, she answered, but it's worth it.
For a moment, their eyes met, and for the first time in years, Emily didn't feel haunted by her past. She felt hope. Months passed. They began working together more, slowly growing close, not through grand gestures, but through quiet trust. Ethan never tried to fix her. He simply stood beside her. One morning, as they watched the sunrise from her apartment balcony, he turned to her and said,
You know, sometimes the right person comes after you've already learned how to stand alone.
She smiled, the kind of smile that reaches the heart.
Maybe that's the only time you're truly ready.
Emily had lost everything once: love, trust, even her name. But she had rebuilt it all on her own terms. Now, standing beside a man who saw her for who she was, she realized something powerful. Her story was never about revenge, it was about rebirth. And as the morning sun touched her face, Emily whispered to herself,
This time I choose peace, and I choose me.